We've talked about looking at who and what as the first two things you should always be looking for in a Bible text, especially a Bible story. But now I want to just go and talk about the other newspaper questions. Who and what, we've already talked about. When, where, why, how, under what circumstances. And then we're also going to look at what does this mean. So the newspaper questions are going to be ones that you want to come back to over and over and over again and review as you are going through your Bible study, as you're going through a book, chapter by chapter, section by section. You're going to want to come back to these newspaper questions because every once in a while, there's going to be something that you noticed, but you didn't understand its full significance until later on in the story. Okay? So as we're looking at this, we have where and when as kind of opposites of each other. Red is when, green is where, with an X on top. And again, we're just marking these newspaper questions with that color along with an X to symbolize these are the basic questions. And then if you want to, I like to do it, but if you don't have to, but if you want to, you can circle in the text. Okay, so when I did this, here are some of the things that I noticed from Esther chapter 11 and Esther chapter 12, verses 1 through 6. It says, in the second year of the reign of Ahasuerus, so you would want to go and probably look and see when that was or when that potentially was. And also that it's on the first day of Nisan. Now, I happen to know, because I know Nisan is the month that Passover happens, that this is sometime in the spring or late winter. Okay. And we have a couple of wheres actually. We have that he's in Susa. That's the city that Mordecai is living in. And again, you might want to know about this. If you were to look that up, you would recognize that this is happening in the Persian Empire. And then one of the things to know about Mordecai is that he was a captive when the king was brought from Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon. And so this tells you a couple of things about Mordecai. Number one, he has been in this situation of being a captive, of being, not doing what he wants to do for a long time. Also notice that it says that he was brought from Jerusalem with Jeconiah, the king of Judea, which might mean, and I'm not even sure if it does, but it might mean that he has some kind of higher status, or it just might mean that he was in a large group of people and they went with Jeconiah, the king of Judah. Okay, we've already talked about the dream that Mordecai had. One thing to just notice here that, again, from these newspaper questions is the how that's located in verse 10 of chapter 11. It says, then they cry to God, and from their cry, as though from a tiny spring, there came a great river. And this river is the one that somehow saves them. And just to know that there is some kind of connection between the cry of the people and their salvation through this river. All right. And then going down, we see that Mordecai sought all day to understand it. That tells us about what he was doing that entire day after the dream. And then that's kind of when we get into this story of these two eunuchs, Gabbatha and Thera, who in the courtyard, they're two eunuchs. In the courtyard, they had this plot to kill the king. And, we didn't talk about this in the last video, but Mordecai comes in, he finds out and he tells the king, or he gets told to the king that these people are doing this. That leads to their execution, and a permanent record is made about this. And so we have those things happening as well. That's the what happened. Okay, now, finally, the last thing to have here from the newspaper questions is a why question. And this is a weird one And I haven't explored yet why it is, but this is something definitely that you would want to look at. It says that Haman, the son of Hammedatha, a Bougian, was in a great honor with the king, and he sought to injure Mordecai and his people because of the two eunuchs of the king. That's the why question. Because of these two eunuchs, that's why he sought to injure Mordecai. Now, what does that mean? If I had to just take a guess off the top of my head, which I haven't looked up yet, I would say maybe it means that he was the one plotting and they were carrying out his plot. Maybe. I don't know. But this is something to explore further. Why was he so upset at Mordecai because of what was going on with these two eunuchs? Now, one thing to remember is that this section, Esther chapter 11, Esther chapter 12, verses 1 through 6, is only found in the Catholic Bible. So you're not going to be able to find a lot of information on this because most Bible resources are Protestant ones, and this section wouldn't be in a Protestant commentary or anything like that. So there might be a little bit more unclarity as we go through, and that's okay. We'll just have to deal with it. All right. Thank you very much. Signing out.